You're listening to a Bored to Death Mandocast, talking Disney Plus's show, The Mandalorian, in easily digestible chunks.
Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender assignations. Welcome back to the Bored to Death Mandocast, here for this season finale of Season 2. I am Jay Winger. Chris can't be with us right at this moment. He and I will be doing a separate Mandocast just to wrap up Season 2. But please welcome back Road.
Road is back. And all I want to scream is, more.
More.
Give me more.
I want it. I've been waiting all day to watch this. It's, I've been hearing some good things without seeing any spoilers. And of course, we're both salivating for all the Star Wars news that got announced recently. I touched on it a bit with Chris a little while ago, but man,
when things start to get going the right way, it just snowballs.
Oh yeah.
And boy, have we had a snowball unloaded on us this week.
Yeah, I mean, with all the new Star Wars projects, Ahsoka, Bad Batch, Rangers of the New Republic, the Acolytes, and all this other stuff. It's just, and apparently they're going to be talking like video games. There's some talk that Project 1313 might be coming back.
Is coming back. We will be getting a set. Actually, we will be getting some major stuff from the games. There's talk of even us getting, what was it? What was the Jedi game before?
Before.
Last one. That was great.
You're talking like the Jedi Knight series with Kyle Katarn?
Oh, no, not Kyle Katarn, but they are talking about, they're thinking of ways to get that going. But,
if they bring Kyle Katarn into if they recanonize Kyle Katarn, I will be very, very happy.
As always, my brain just goes into fizzle because I just like drooling over everything. But Starkiller.
Oh yeah, Force Unleashed. Yeah.
Yes, they are actually talking about we will be getting either a new game or a actual series to it.
A series would be awesome. If they want to essentially reboot Force Unleashed to make it fit with the new canon, I'd be happy with that too, because it's essentially Legends canon now,
right.
And because Force Unleashed 2 basically took it straight into non-canon territory with the ending.
Yeah, well, we can skip part 2, but part one was
sort of malleable a bit, yeah. With a little bit of tweaking here and there. But I would absolutely, if they wanted to make a new Force Unleashed game, even if it's just like a reboot or a remaster of the original Force Unleashed with new physics engines on like next-gen consoles.
That would be perfect.
Exactly.
That would be...
Because I loved playing the first Force Unleashed because you just felt like super badass. Exactly. Bringing a freaking Star Destroyer down out of orbit with the Force and crashing it onto that planet was just so awesome.
I mean, this is the stuff that you dream of being able to see from your Jedi and Sith. Mostly your Sith.
Yeah.
But, I always imagine, if Yoda gets pushed this way, Yoda will drop a whole fleet on your head.
If Grogu's gonna do that to... You saw him going ham on those stormtroopers.
Grogu is just looking out for his father, okay? He took notes, and he now knows what needs to be done.
Well, and let's not forget also, Grogu, he had to have been there when 66 went down.
Yes.
And he had to have seen some of what...
He was old enough to see and know exactly what's going on. And I'm sorry, but to see something like that happening has to mess with your head.
Mm-hmm. Has to mess with your head. And then you spend the next several... And then after the dark time that you don't really remember too well, you suddenly find yourself in the company of this taciturn badass, doesn't talk a whole lot, but isn't afraid to get physical with people, Yeah, it's gonna taint some of your morals a bit.
I don't see it being a bad taint.
Yeah, exactly. He's just being protective of what's his. But yeah, there's just a whole lot going on, and we are both so excited for this episode, Chapter 16, which, from what I've seen online, is called The Rescue, which gives me some good hope. But I want to see how Mando handles the Dark Troopers.
This is going to be serious epic. I mean, just knowing what the Dark Troopers are capable of doing.
Well, we're basing that off of the old Dark Forces game, which is what these things were taken from. We don't know what they're capable of in this canon, but it's still going to be awesome.
I mean, just the fact that they're there, you know they're badasses.
Here's what and furthermore, are we going to see Ahsoka? Are we going to see Bo-Katan and the other Mandos show up? And while we're talking other Mandos, are we going to see the Children of the Watch return? I want to see the Armorer go ham on somebody again.
Again, you have so much there. You just can't figure out what you're about to get, which makes this even better.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, this story has been so well put together and thought out and planned.
And the writing is good enough that even if you're not a diehard Star Wars fan, they make sure you get enough context clues that the references that they drop still you know enough to know, okay, that's a big deal, whatever that is. Exactly.
Everything.
See, even Vector over there, our pet robot, is excited to watch this. You probably can't hear him on the microphone, but yeah. So we could talk for a long time about this, but let's not mess around anymore. Let's get to
what we've been waiting for.
Exactly.
All day.
So we're gonna watch the episode now, and we'll be back after the binge. Okay, wait, hold on. No.
Hey, while we're watching this episode, you should go ahead and toss us a like and subscribe. If you want to reach out, do it via our social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio podcast tribe, including J Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, Girls Who Like, and The Nerd Table. Imperial credits may not be worth much, but remember to support CKCC Radio on Patreon. I have spoken.
And we're back. Oh my God. Oh, that was... I don't know entirely what I was expecting, but that was
beyond expectations.
Oh, that was beyond expectations. So, we just start with the Slave One overtaking an Imperial shuttle, which had Dr. Pershing on it, just so they could get more intel about the ship, about Gideon's light cruiser.
And let's take a moment here.
Yeah.
Let us take a very serious moment at this point. Number one, if you're an imp, you don't talk about Alderaan.
So, yeah. Do not talk about Alderaan in front
of someone from Alderaan.
Yeah. Of the two pilots on the ship, one of them was clearly like ISB or something. Because as soon as Mando and Kara and Boba walked onto to the shuttle, one of the pilots grabbed Dr. Pershing and put a gun to his head. And basically just pointed out that's like the New Republic would want him alive, so you can claim a bounty on him. And then, when the other pilot's like, I'm not with him, tried to do the smart thing, that pilot just shot him. The other pilot just shot him.
Shoots him in the back.
That's why the Empire sucks to work for.
Yeah.
And
no job security.
Hope, and you have to hope that
You live through your job.
yeah. And he then starts mouthing off at Cara Dune, basically saying it's like, he said that he was there when
he was
on the Death Star. And he's like, you know how many millions of people died on those things? Yeah, and he's like, you know how many millions of people died on those things? And he said, like, the death of your planet was a small price to pay to bring order to the galaxy. And so Cara naturally shot him in the face.
Mistake.
Yeah, it's like
so mistake.
Yeah, that was just dumb. It was just dumb. But then it's like they needed some backup if they wanted to take the light cruiser.
And backup
was in the form. Well, let's talk about where they found that backup, because it's not clear what planet they went to, but it looked like Lothal.
It looks exactly like Lothal.
To the point where we were like, "Oh my God, are we about to see the Ghost Crew?" No, we didn't, but we got Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks again. I can't remember Sasha Banks' character's name. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Casca, I think it was.
Yeah,
but Sasha Banks.
They
yeah.
They only agreed to come because number one, the Darksaber.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that matters.
Well, and when they heard Boba Fett's voice, they were both immediately like hostile to him, because it's just like, you're not a true Mandalorian. It's like this Alma belonged to my father, and Bo-Katan's like, don't you mean your donor? And I was like, that's just wrong. But they got her in by basically saying we know where Gideon is. We have his coordinates, and all that she cares about, of course, is the Darksaber. Because with it they'll be able to take Mandalore back. Although Boba's like, Mandalore got turned to glass, and that's something I haven't heard outside of a freaking Halo game.
Well, actually, that is in it's in a lot of the books. They literally
first time in the new canon then.
Yeah, they blast the living daylights out of that planet.
Well, that's what the Covenant does to planets that they glass, but yeah.
Wow.
Which tells you a lot about what probably happened to Mandalore. Ooh, good Lord.
But I can actually see that happening as more of a, we need to do this because God help us if they get together, we can't take
Well,
them.
and we talked about this when they in the recap, when they showed Mando giving his warning to Moff Gideon. It's like, and the expression on Gideon's face was like part fury, how dare somebody defy me, and part, oh shit, it's a Mandalorian, and a Mandalorian who has purpose. Because he was at Mandalore during the Purge.
He knows what they can actually do.
Yep.
When they are
when
highly motivated.
Yes. God help you if the Mandalorians mobilize against you, because they will not stop until you are dead. Or at the very least, until your will to resist has been utterly crushed. very much like the Empire in that respect.
Whatever comes first.
Yep.
Trust me.
You do not want to be in a Mando's way when they have motivation to put you down. So that would probably be why they glassed Mandalore. It's just sort of like, we did this to your home world. Imagine what we'll do to any other world that your people call home.
Which explains why they won't let you know where they are.
Mm-hmm. Which is why
they travel, and God help you if more than one gets together and they find a purpose to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It does not end well for you.
No, sir. And so they make a plan to storm the ship. They still have the Imperial shuttle, so they use that as a Trojan horse, basically.
Yeah, have Boba and Slave One
act like they're chasing an Imperial shuttle, which still has the right coordinates, or not coordinates, access codes and stuff.
Access codes to get on.
And
they're broadcasting while Boba's shooting
And then Boba breaks away. You know, it's like, oh shit, there's TIE fighters, and they're too close. I'm going to stay away from those deck guns. Bye. He went off on his own.
And they did some nice, serious, high-speed piloting into the bay, and they crash. And
then they storm the ship, and they start mobilizing the Dark Troopers, an entire platoon of Dark Troopers. And Mando's job is to basically get there and like use Dr. Pershing's like code stick to like shut them down or lock them in.
But they were already mobilized.
And one of them makes it through the door before he can stop it. And that one Dark Trooper, good lord,
was very lopsided.
Yes,
was it lopsided.
It no-sold everything he did to it. He tried shooting it; its armor was resistant to it, and then it grabbed him, threw him into the wall, and started hammer punching his head into the wall. The only reason he survived is because he had a freaking Beskar helmet.
Otherwise, he's dead after that first punch.
I'm sure he was probably concussed after that. Because the armor might hold, but your head is still bouncing around inside of that thing. Unless it's like vibranium, in which and it reduces.
All I have to say is, I'm pretty sure that Mandalorians have designed something into their helmet. Concussions are not a factor.
Or maybe it's just part of their physiology. They're more resistant to concussions.
I mean, he was still consciously fighting. Mm-hmm. He was not.
He tried to use his flamethrower on its joints, and it just pissed it off.
His last shots of
the twittering birds, which staggered it, but it was still coming.
Yeah. Then out came the Beskar spear,
and he finally took its head off. And meanwhile, while this is all going on, the others that are trapped in their deployment in the cold storage facility are literally working on punching their way through the door. So Mando, after he's taken out the one that he was fighting, just vents them out the airlock. And we're all laughing. And it's like, yeah, that's great. Meanwhile, the rest of their little boarding party are massacring their way through.
They massacred the ship. Literally, they massacred.
They stormed the bridge.
Entire ship. And have stormed the bridge.
They kill everybody on the bridge, but Gideon's not
there.
Gideon is in the brig with Baby Yoda. And he's holding the Darksaber right above his head, just sort of like, go on, try it, when Mando gets there.
And then he explains his purpose. He was only after
the blood.
The baby's blood. He's gotten what he wants. Take the baby.
And leave my ship.
Leave my ship and go.
We'll never meet again.
But,
this is an Imperial and an ex-ISB. They do not play nice. They do not play fair.
Again, you're talking about people who come from Thrawn's group. Thrawn does not believe in losing.
Thrawn does not believe in playing fair. We saw that in Rebels.
There's no such thing as fair.
Yeah.
There's only win.
Yes.
And I must win.
And let's face it, Thrawn usually does. Yeah, the only reason he lost at the end of Rebels is because he didn't see Ezra's gambit coming with bringing in the space whales or whatever they were. I forget what they were called.
Yeah, I mean
that was a Hail Mary as it was.
Hail Mary full of grace.
But still, yeah. But then so Gideon turns on him with the Darksaber, and of course he's wearing Beskar armor, so it holds up.
Yeah.
And then we got Darksaber versus Beskar spear, exactly like was predicted as soon as Mando was given the spear.
And sure enough, win.
Yes, it was a real good fight, but Mando won because this is what he does.
And we finally get a great loving scene as we see Mando and Baby Yoda together finally.
Yeah.
Walking good old fashioned style of buddy cop.
Yep.
I mean everything.
They brought
Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yes, Lone Wolf and Cub. I've
go.
seen the comparison.
I've seen
the comparison between Mando and Baby Yoda.
And they're victorious, and they're just taking him up there to the bridge, and they're saying, "We did it. we have won.
But Bo-Katan's look focused on the Darksaber, and this is when Gideon gets smug.
Yeah, Gideon knows exactly what she was after.
And furthermore, he knows the Mandalorian creed. He knows the way.
Their way. And their way is quite simple.
You keep what you kill.
Exactly. And it's amazing that no one thought of that other than him. Well,
Bo-Katan was thinking it, but she went to the bridge expecting that Gideon would be there.
To be there and her to win. Instead, it's
Mando.
Mandalorian.
It's Din Djarin, strolling in with it, and as he's just immediately tries to hand it off to her, just like, I don't want it.
I'm not here to.
I'm here for the kid. That's it. And
she's like, no,
I can't take it.
I have to win this.
And Gideon is just sitting back, expecting the two of them to come to blows.
And then the left hook comes.
They suddenly get notice that there are things moving into the ship, and you and I looked at each other. We're like, "Oh my god, the Dark Troopers have rockets in their feet, and they're robots. They don't need to breathe."
They're humans inside the dark armors anymore. Oops.
We both completely forgot, and it was as soon
the whole platoon came back.
Minus one. And Gideon
get rid of that one.
And Gideon was sitting back with a smug look on his face. It was like, you could barely stand up to one. What can you do against a platoon? And
these guys
they lock down the bridge, and they're ready to start shooting.
They're ready to go down in a blaze of absolute glory.
And he's taunting Mando and Baby Yoda, just sort of like, you have such a fire team to protect you, but when they get through that door, the only things that are going to be left alive in this bridge are me and the baby and the kid.
And you only have two of these things steady punching the door, and they are coming that door.
And then the cavalry arrives.
The cavalry out of nowhere.
Suddenly,
one load.
X-wing, and and even Cara Dune's like, one X-wing, great, and I'm just like, oh, cool. So the New Republic's here. I'm thinking it's Carson, and then suddenly, because it's not responding to the hails, I'm like, we're both like, oh my god,
hold up,
one X-wing,
only one. Just wait, whoa, and then the magic began.
Because because who else do we know that has an X-wing? Who else do we know that could have
only by himself?
And who else do we know that has an X-wing that could possibly have responded to a child's cries for help through the Force? We saw
the green lightsaber, and all was right
with the world.
Oh my
Luke Skywalker versus Dark Troopers, and it was a curb stomp battle.
Wow. The last one where he just said Force Crush.
Yeah, the last Dark Trooper,
wow.
He literally just put the lightsaber down and just Force crushed it like a tin can. It was, oh my god.
And everyone on the bridge is just standing there like...
It's like, it's a Jedi.
Hold up, that's a Jedi. I don't want to open this door.
Yeah. But, Mando opens the door because he realizes he's here for the kid. And,
all right, I did my job.
Yeah. And so they open the door, in walks Luke Skywalker, lowers the hood, and it's Mark Hamill.
Right from... the third movie.
Now this was clearly like the CG effect that they did for like Grand Moff Tarkin and Carrie Fisher, but it was good enough. It was good enough you couldn't tell.
But literally, if you never saw the original trilogy, you would think, okay, there's Luke. Hey, that's pretty cool. That's Luke.
And it was Mark Hamill doing the voice too.
Yeah, and it was like there was nothing there to let you know that this is CG.
Yeah.
That is quality work.
And then we had the nice, silent, quiet, tender moments as Mando goes to take Baby Yoda to to Luke, and Baby Yoda doesn't want. He's like he doesn't want to go, and Luke says he wants your permission. And I was like, oh.
The heartstrings, man.
But then, as Mando picks up Baby Yoda reaches up and sort of touches his helmet with the claw, and Mando takes his helmet off.
For the first time.
No, second time this season.
Well,
first time for the baby could see it.
Yeah.
And that's when it hit me. It's like, let me look on you with my own eyes. I was like, oh my God, there's so many parallels. And then as he passes Baby Yoda over to Luke, sets him down, and R2 wheels in, and I'm just like, that's when it hit me, because Grogu was at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. He would have seen R2, who is Anakin Skywalker's droid, and of course R2 would have recognized him as one of Yoda's species, because R2 was there on Dagobah, and Luke picks up Baby Yoda and starts to take him away as Mando sort of is clearly holding back some tears, as they go to leave, and I'm just like, the parallels. Yoda trained Luke, and now Luke is going to train Grogu.
And the cycle just continues.
And the cycle continues. And the episode proper ended with the turbo lift, or whatever it's called, closing, roll credits. And then
we get
we get the stinger at the end. We go back to Tatooine.
Back
to Jabba's palace.
Jabba's palace.
And what was that guy's name? The major domo. The Nucha,
basically, his right-hand man has taken over Jabba's palace. He's running things. He's become a literal fat cat.
He is.
Boy, has he become a fat cat.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. And
he's
another kicker, that was the exact same dancer.
Was it?
Yeah, that was her. I saw her name listed.
No, wait, no. Because the dancer in Return of the Jedi got fed to the thing in the pit.
Right, but that was still her. Just
same actress.
Same
okay.
Actress.
Okay.
Doing the same thing. And I mean, wow, she still looks amazing.
I've heard that she does look freaking amazing. But so Jabba, Jabba wannabe is sitting. Wannabe the Hutt is sitting sitting in the throne.
No, Pizza the Hut.
Pizza, yeah. He's been eating too many of those pizza rolls.
And all of a sudden, you just hear this one lone shot ring out, and somebody comes falling down the stairs. So again, this just seems to happen a little bit too much there.
Mm-hmm. And then Fennec Shan walks down, kills every single guard in the room, shoots the chain to free the slave girl,
and she takes off.
And then Boba
comes strolling in.
And wannabe is sitting there. It's like, Boba, I thought you were dead, or I heard you were dead.
Oh, it's so great to see you, Boba.
And then Boba shoots him straight in the face, chucks him off the throne,
and sits on it, and is like, "You know what time it is now."
He just sits back. It's like, and remember, you keep what you kill.
And cue credits.
And then it says the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
December 2021.
Yes. Oh, yes.
My body is ready now. And I had been hoping that we would get like a Thrawn stinger, because while we were waiting for the credits to finish so we could get to the stinger, we were talking about Thrawn and how we kind of hope that he'll be like the Thanos of all the Star Wars series
he is going to be,
and
everything's going to feed into it. And I'm like, this
and then
is the way.
But then what you do is you introduce him, or you drop the hints and the breadcrumbs and stuff for it through Ahsoka and maybe the Bad Batch, the Acolyte, all these other Star Wars series that you're working on, and then you do a new sequel trilogy with Thrawn as the bad guy.
And I can see this. It's not going to go well for our heroes because, again, this is Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only way you beat him is at the very last second of.
You know how it's often said, so and so's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Everybody else is playing chess. He's playing fifth-dimensional chess. He is 100 moves ahead of you.
I mean, for somebody who has literally, he can look at a situation and knows every single angle of how it can play out.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most dangerous person you could run into.
Mm-hmm.
Because he knows what you're going to do. And he knows what you're thinking about.
And he knows how to use every resource at his disposal to the best of its use.
And there's no such thing as a non-expendable person around him. To get the job done, everyone can be
he's not notorious for killing underlings that have failed him like so many other Imperial officers.
No.
Unless you have screwed up too many times for him, then maybe he'll cut his losses. But otherwise,
but he will save you for that one moment when he needs something absolutely done, and no one's going to walk away. Guess what? You just volunteered.
Mm-hmm. If you fail him and you survive, you survive your failure. He'll be like, figure out what you did wrong and see that it doesn't happen again.
Well, that's the thing.
He gives you a second chance.
He does. But he also surrounds himself with people who know not to fail.
That too.
He is very, very well calculated.
And he doesn't really put up with toadyism either.
No.
You know, he doesn't want people that are going to suck up. He doesn't want people that suck up to him. You go ahead and criticize him because he wants to know if you see something, see a weakness or a flaw somewhere in his plans. Let him know.
I'm trying to think of his right hand man, and this guy.
Palian.
Yeah, literally. This is the one person
I think it was Palian.
I think it is Palian. Walks up to his face and tells him, "You're doing this shit wrong. You really need to use a little bit more tact." And Thrawn is like,
you have a good point. I could have been more diplomatic.
And I mean, again.
And that is how in the Thrawn trilogy he became such a huge threat to the New Republic.
He knew all their weaknesses, all their strengths. He knew how to turn those strengths into an absolute weakness.
Mm-hmm. And you get the impression that what he's doing right now with the Imperial Remnant in the time the Mandalorian takes place is he's thinking to himself, we could move and try to just go ahead and we could like just go ahead and attack them, but what we're going to do instead is we're going to sit back, gather our resources, bide our time, let the New Republic eat itself.
Right, because they're going to be stretched thin trying to support all these planets that need aid and
all the planets that need aid,
guys,
all the
and that's when you hit them.
Mm-hmm. It's like for all that the Empire was not exactly a nice place to live, they kept a lot of the rogue elements in check.
Right,
and now they're not there anymore.
They also made sure the supply lines were open.
They made the trains run on time, as it were.
Yeah, and I mean, they protected those supply lines.
Mm-hmm. They kept the commerce going.
It's why in the Rebels you see them hitting those supply lines, and it's kind of hard to hit those supply lines because
that's the Empire's just like, nope.
nope. This has to get to this place. It's gonna get to this place, or else.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I really hope they take their time with building up Thrawn. Don't just throw him out there whenever season 3 rolls around. Because
so far, from what is being hinted at, we don't have to worry about seeing a movie for the new trilogy anytime soon.
You got to give it time to marinate, man.
At least until 2023, will you start hearing about what's coming?
that's when you just start doing pre-production. Don't release it in 2023. Because, let's face it, the sequel trilogy left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Individually, the movies were okay. Force Awakens was pretty decent. Last Jedi had its flaws, but I liked it. I recognized it wasn't what people were expecting.
Yeah, it wasn't what you were thinking.
But I thought the story choices that they made were bold, and I was like, I'm interested in seeing where this is going. And then they tried to walk it all back with.
And then the third one.
Yeah, the third one I had fun watching it, but as soon as it was done, I was like, that was a mess.
Yeah.
It's like I recognized that it was a mess.
You shoehorned people in there. You didn't give people that you had in the second one who were very interesting any kind of time.
Right.
In the third one, I'm like,
yeah, it was a mess. I had fun doing it, but it's like the fact that they didn't have like a real defined. This is what the character arcs are going to be for your principal. This is what the overarching story is going to be of the trilogy.
But again, you see the difference between a certain corporate bigwig's vision.
If she even had one.
Well, let's not comment too much on.
If they even had one.
Yeah.
I'll walk that back. If they even had one.
Corporate bigwig's vision, and then a loyal and loving fans who has sat through it all.
Who had been waiting for how long for another Star Wars movie?
I
mean, but part of the problem is Star Wars fans, even before the sequel trilogy came out, are very, very difficult to please.
Right.
I understand them not necessarily wanting to please the entire fan base because that's never going to happen. But yeah,
you want to try and give them something comforting something that they remember.
Well, and they went too much in that direction with Force Awakens.
Right.
Everybody compared it as like hitting way too many of the same story beats as A New Hope. I, at the time, noticed that as well, but I was like, maybe this is just a case of the cyclical nature of history. History repeating itself sort of thing.
But then even if
the pattern repeats sort of thing.
Went through Legends and then into the extended universe, history actually does not totally repeat itself.
Yeah, but they'd also basically said all the Legends continuity stuff.
Right, they kicked it out the door, and everyone's like,
which was good because again, trying to adapt anything from that would have been way too complicated.
Especially if you don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
That was the whole problem. You know nothing about it. Now we have someone who pretty much knows almost line by line that. And it's like, you know what?
But Jon Favreau also is doing it the right way. He's like, I'm not necessarily going to, do things word for word like they are in the books. I'm going to pull aspects. I'm going to pull Thrawn out because he's a great villain, and we needed a good villain.
We need a big villain that we can use now, in the now.
Mm-hmm. And here's another thing: if they are essentially going to declare the entire sequel trilogy non-canon.
Yeah, it's gone.
Well, we don't know that yet. We've heard
supposedly from Wednesday, it's been said that the trilogy is null and void. They're pulling characters.
Okay, cool.
But they're rewriting those.
Here's what I think here's what I think we're going to get instead of Snoke. Jerus Kaboth.
That could actually work in a very good way.
It could also be Snoke. Could also be they're trying to grow a new Palpatine, but they need, blood with a high M count in order to do it.
Right.
Because otherwise he won't be powerful enough. They have options, is what I'm saying, and they specify that Dr. Pershing is a clone technician,
right,
or something like that. It's
right.
like he is an expert on that sort of stuff.
And again, there were attempts to clone the Emperor back, and that was immediately halted once Thrawn hit the scene because Thrawn was like, "We don't need him. I don't need him."
The Empire is bigger than one man.
Right. And he shut it down. He shut it down rather hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, but you sort of need to.
In terms of...
Because let's face it, when it comes to Palpatine, there is no such thing as overkill. He is a guy that you want to make sure is deader than dead. Or
yeah,
he would...
He made sure. I mean, he took out the entire cloning planet.
Camino?
Yeah, he blows Camino to pieces.
Well,
He circled Camino with all of his Star Destroyers and said, fire. And don't stop firing until I tell you. And I mean, literally, that's like my favorite... what issue was this? This was
in the comics.
Yeah, it was in the comics.
Cool.
And literally, that comic book is actually considered one of the canon.
Part of the new canon.
And I mean, he literally just said, fire, and don't stop firing until I tell you so. And sat down and had dinner.
Because he is a man of wealth and taste.
And like
he is an
there's shots actually getting down to the core, and one of the officers
he is an officer and a gentleman.
We are hitting the core now. Should we stop?
Did I tell you? Did I tell you to stop? No.
So, yeah.
Then keep firing. While I enjoy this sushi or whatever he was eating.
Yeah, he would be a nice seafood person.
Probably eating some of those.
Surf and turf.
Probably eating some of those blue prawns. You know. He enjoys the blue prawns before they get processed into spatchka.
Yeah, I mean, Thrawn.
Yeah,
Thrawn is a monster, but he is so civilized.
Mm-hmm.
He's like this guy you have to sit down and you just want to hear what his plan is. Even though that plan means he's going to literally wipe out your entire team. But to hear him describe it is like, wow.
He's like,
so
you and all your friends are dead already. You just don't know it yet. But I am going to finish dinner before I start. He is the sort of person.
You may have this.
You know the saying. It's like you won't live to regret this. No, he makes sure you live exactly long enough to regret it. And the moment you finally reach that point, then he kills you.
Oh yeah, oh god, and I can't wait. And again, the casting calls that have been going out for all the new stuff that is coming. There's certain names that have come out, and one of the names that just sits there, and I can actually see it only because of the recent trilogy of movies that were done, and they keep popping Keanu Reeves, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, you know what? That would be Thrawn.
Oh my God, Keanu Reeves is Thrawn.
I mean, cool, calculated.
Jeez.
I mean, all you have to do is just imagine, just look at his John Wick films and how he was cool, calculated, and straightforward, and then put that with Thrawn, and suddenly
Thrawn,
it's like,
to use some John Wick metaphors, Thrawn would be John Wick crossed with Winston.
Yes, very much so.
And crossed, I think, with a little bit of the adjudicator.
Yes.
You know, he is deadly in combat. He is also a cool man of culture and class, and he is also cold-blooded and ruthless.
Tactical to a fault. And yeah, I'm like, they don't want to say what they want him for or what they got him for.
But if they were to cast him as Thrawn,
they got him for films, and I'm just sitting there like,
Thrawn would be great. Let's be honest. If they were to somehow make him a John Wick in the Star Wars setting, that would be cool also. Or Kyle Katarn.
He could be a Kyle. Oh yeah, he could be a Kyle Katarn too.
This is why. Okay, as I said, we me and Chris are going to probably do another Mandocasts after he has a chance to watch the episode. I'm probably going to watch it again with him, and we'll do a rap cast for all of.
Probably.
Well, no, yeah. But and you said you're.
I'm gonna sit there and watch it over.
So expect to, we'll go ahead and wrap this up here because we could keep talking about this, but we should wait and get Chris in on this so we can get him to geek out for everything.
Chris is going to lose everything the second this starts up.
Oh God, I want to see his reaction when Luke's X-wing flies up and when he realizes who it is.
I already see his face and just the look of. Wait, what?
I'm gonna have to make sure I have my phone ready so I can just film it and film his reaction to it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and call this edition of the Bingecast here, or the Mandocast here. It's been a fantastic season. It's just been Jon Favreau. Thank you. Thank you
so much.
Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, thank you for what you have done. You have given Star Wars fans hope again. Rebellions are built on hope. Hey! So, for Road, I am Jay, and we'll see you when the next Mandalorian season rolls around. This is the way.
Thanks for listening to a Bored to Death Mandocast. Be sure to check out all the episodes of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus and give us a like and subscribe. This is the way.